All right, everybody, how's it going tonight? Obviously, there's not that much people in here right now, but hopefully, we get some more people in here. Chapo is currently in the house right now. He's, well, laying down. He was scratching earlier. That's my dog for you. Anyway, how's it going, everybody? John here with SoCal Outdoor Adventure. It's great to be back with you. So obviously, I have not posted a video within the last 2 weeks, and the reason for that is because the last 2 weeks have been very productive as far as the family is going on. We've been taking care of some things. Basically, been doing some cleanup, and we've had a couple of birthday parties that we've had to go to, and a couple of events involving my daughter's Girl Scout troop that we've been going to. So that's why you haven't seen as many postings from me lately. While we're on the subject of that, let's go ahead and talk about what's going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks here. Excuse me, I dropped my remote control. So just to kind of give you all a heads up as to what's going on here. During the month of September, there's going to be about 3 weeks out of the month of September that I will not be able to do any postings whatsoever. And the reason for that particular case is because I will be out of town for a couple of weekend camping trips, mainly with family and friends. So that's going to be going on. So hopefully I'll be able to get back onto my normal schedule by the time we hit the month of October. Second of all, I've got some new gear that I'm going to be doing some reviews on in a short time frame. And one of those things happens to be a dual battery flashlight. That's right, you hear me correct. A dual battery flashlight. So you can not only use a rechargeable battery on this particular flashlight, but you can also use a AA battery on this particular flashlight. And we're going to go over the whole pros and cons of the ideas of this particular flashlight later on when we get the chance. So that's going to be one exciting thing that's going to be coming up. Another exciting thing I've also coming up as well is I also have a brand new knife review. I've been testing out this one knife that I've been hearing a lot of people talking about, and that's the Gerber Strong Arm. I finally picked myself up one earlier this year, and I have to say I now understand what all the huff and puff is all about this particular knife. So far, I've actually been pretty happy with it, and I'll be happy to give you guys my full review of the Gerber Strong Arm, let you know what I like and what I dislike about it, and then I'll let you guys know like what things I use the knife for specifically for when it comes to either going camping or going on my adventures and everything like that. Let's see. Another thing that I've also been doing a lot lately. Unfortunately, I seem to forget my video camera. I should start bringing my video camera with me when I do these types of adventures, and that has been going fishing. Recently, about 2 weeks ago, I went fishing down over at Ventura Harbor, at the marina. I went fishing over off the docks, and I caught me some fish, and I had a great time doing it. I've also been testing out a brand new fishing pole, and I'm going to be doing a review on this particular fishing pole later on down the line. And just to give you guys an idea, this is the packaging in which the fishing pole came in. So this is by this is by Steinhausen. It's basically a tangle-free rod. It's a travel rod, and basically it collapses down to a smaller kit, to a smaller size rod. The height of this particular rod, once fully extended, is about 5'6". So I'm going to show you guys exactly how I've been using this. And the reel I've been using on this particular rod is I've been using a spin caster reel. Now, another good thing about this particular rod is that besides using a spin caster reel, I could also use a bait caster. And lately, I've been using my bait caster more frequently than I've been using the spin cast reels. And I've actually been doing pretty well with the bait caster, but for this particular reel, since it came with the spin caster reel on it, I've been using it on this particular rod, and so far I like it. So we're going to go ahead and put that down. So you're definitely going to look forward to a review on that particular rod later on down the line. Another new piece of gear that I recently got, I actually picked up a brand new grill. This is by Biddy Big Q. It's a bit of a mouthful to say. Bitty Bit Q. And actually, surprisingly enough, this is actually not a bad little barbecue system. And I've used it to cook food on. And then while a fire's been going, I've actually used it to, boil my coffee and boil my water and make coffee. Boil my coffee. Oh my god, I can't believe I said that. I meant to say boil my water to make coffee, and I've also used it to also make tea, cook some dinner, and a few other things. So that's another new piece of gear I'm definitely going to look forward to reviewing. What else do I have? Oh, yes, I have a brand new rucksack by the company 511. This is actually the first rucksack that I've ever owned from 511, and so far, I'm actually pretty impressed with it. I've been very surprised with just how good the backpacks are from 511. I've been using this one as a day hike backpack, and so far it has done me pretty well. I had originally used this as a travel fishing backpack, but then I decided to go back to a different backpack, and that was my LA Police Gear backpack with the chest rig. And I'm going to be talking more about that particular backpack and that setup later on down the line because after using it for so long, for like a while now, there's a couple of things that I do want to talk about that I do not really like about the backpack, and there's a couple of things I want to talk about that I actually do like about the backpack, and a few little updates that I made to the actual pack itself. So definitely look forward to that. And oh, if you'll excuse me for just one moment, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back with you. Sorry about that. I had to make a little pit stop, so you know. Let's see. The next thing we want to go and talk about. Oh yes, another piece of gear that I've also been using is the brand new Stanley French press coffee pot system with the butterfly handles, and I've been testing that one out. And I'm going to give you guys a review on that particular coffee system a little bit later on down the line. It's now is not the time. I'm still working on it, making sure I like everything about it. I've been primarily using it on a gas stove. I have not tried it on a wood burning stove as of yet. So I definitely want to take it out and give that a try and see how good it is on a wood burning stove. And then once I get a feeling for that, I'll let you guys know. I'll give you guys a full review of that particular pot in question. Next thing we want to go ahead and talk about, I've also got myself a brand new tripod. You may have noticed that there were some changes in a couple of my previous videos that I posted recently about how the camera angle was sitting on on, and what that was is that I was using um, this particular guy right here. This is by a company called UB Size, and this is actually a very nice tripod. I've been using this now for quite a while to do my filming, and I've been using it also to just take random photographs to test out the quality of the tripod itself to see how it's been working out. So I definitely expect another review of this particular tripod later on down the line when the time comes. So looking forward to doing a review on this one. So obviously this year, another thing I also do want to go ahead and talk about as well. Obviously this year was the beginning of the basically going back to gear that I previously have used before or that I'm still currently using. So we're gonna go ahead and continue that story about some other gear and other videos later on down the line. But since I am here with you guys right now, one particular piece of gear that I do want to talk to you guys about is a knife. And that happens to be, if I can remember the name of it, I think I have it lying around somewhere just to remember exactly where I put it. But it happens to be the Buck Mesa. The Buck Mesa was a knife that I actually still own. And after using that knife and carrying it for quite some time, I've come to realize that while granted the design and the quality of the knife is there, just like any other Buck product that you can possibly want or you want to go ahead and use, there are a couple of things about the Mesa that I am honestly not a huge fan of. And this is why this is a knife that I honestly I honestly wanted to like this knife. I actually wanted to like this particular knife because it was the first ever full tang knife that I've ever seen from Buck. Well, actually, I think the Selkirch was the first full tang knife that I've ever seen from Buck. I could be wrong. I don't remember. So I don't remember when exactly I bought the two knives. So I do apologize for that. Let me see if I can grab it and I'll be able to show you exactly what I'm talking about. I believe I have it in my day high packs. Let me grab it. And while I'm doing that, let me ask you guys, how are you guys doing through everything that's going on right now? I mean, how is everybody feeling? Leave me a comment down below or chat with me. Let me know how you all are doing. Hope everybody's well. It's okay, Japo. Oh, I almost forgot to mention another product review that I have been wanting to do and just haven't done it yet has been on the multi tool that I carry with me as part of my EDC, and that happens to be the Gerber SN SN SNXT, I think is what NXT I think is what it's called, if I remember correctly. But that's the one that I'm currently using my clip and carry sheath with. I don't remember if I've done a full on review of that particular multi tool, but I'm definitely going to do a full on review of the multi tool. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about. Well, that's a first. I actually lost my grip on my knife, on the knife in the sheath, and it fell and hit my laptop, and it actually went ahead and locked my locked my microphone. So hopefully everything's okay. But it looks like everything's all right. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the Buck Mesa. Now, first off, in my honest opinion, Buck has a couple of things going well for it. Let's talk about first of all, let's remove the knife and let's talk about the sheath. Now, a couple of things that I actually do like about the sheath. First of all, it's a hard polymer, a type of plastic, and the sheath is multi-carry, so you can strap this onto your back and carry. If you add some paracord through here to strap it onto the backpack, um, the belt loop right here is removable, so you can move the belt loop either to this side of the sheath or to this side of the sheath. So if you're left-handed carry, you want to move the belt loop to this side of your sheath. If you're right-handed carry, you want to leave it exactly right where it is. And I do like this sheath a lot for this particular knife, and it's got a really nice. It's got a simple drainage hole right here. So let's see if you guys can see that right about here. Hopefully, you guys can see that drainage hole right there. That's where I'm. That's where my. If you see the darkness, that's where my finger, top of my finger. But if I pull it away, that's the drainage hole for where the knife sits. And the sheath is a very good quality, and so far it's held up pretty well. But the knife, on the other hand, okay, there's a couple of things wrong with this particular knife, and I think I think Buck almost hit it out of the park with this knife. To be honest with you, to be gone awfully honest with you, Buck almost hit it out of the park. Now between this knife here versus the Buck Selkirk, which is another knife that I currently own. I'm currently using that knife as a fishing knife, as for when I go fishing. But I might switch it out. I might put that knife in my day hike pack, and put this knife in the fishing pack instead. But there are a couple of things that are a little bit wrong with this particular knife. Okay, first off, let's talk about the handle scales. Now, the handle scales are really nice. They're micarta, so you have a good grip on the micarta. But, but the one thing that I'm not a huge fan of, and I'm not sure if this is something with other knives or other knife manufacturers. I know for a fact that, I mean, I own the Mora Garberg, and I know for a fact that I've never seen that with that particular knife either, the Mora Garberg. And that is that on the handle scales of this particular knife, the handle scales are actually kind of thin out. So if you look at the edge of the knife right here, like, let me hold it right here at the back of the blade. So if you look at the bottom of the knife, here's where it's nice and fat, where it's a little bit bigger for the hand. But as it comes down, though, it starts to taper and get small and small. So, I mean, I can't seem to understand exactly what the story is with that. Now, granted, it does feel good in the hand, both in my right hand and also my left hand. So that is a plus for this particular knife. But I kind of wish that they kept the handle scales of this particular knife just a little bit more bigger. I kind of wish that. I honestly do. The next thing, I know that some people have complained about is, and the truth be told, and I've seen it in the comments, and truth be told, I have to agree with some of those folks. The pommel on the back of this knife, the tang on the back of this knife is not that much exposed. You've only got this little portion of the tang right here that's kind of exposed that gives you just enough to kind of pommel on things. So not much, but just a little bit. So maybe the one thing I would want to do with this knife is kind of make the tang just a little bit more exposed on the top so that we can hammer stuff down. And also, too, another thing here is that if you look at the curvature of the tang right about here, if you can see that, see where how my thumb goes, my finger goes from this end all the way down here, and it flies right off of the tang. This is actually a little bit sharp. So if I'm taking my knife and I put it up against a piece of wood, and I'm batoning a piece of wood down. I mean, when I have this knife in my hand, I have a good grip on it. It honestly hurts. I can feel it stinging my hand as I'm hammering it as I'm batoning into the wood to split wood to make kindling. And another thing too, I am not a huge fan of is this guy right here, the stop. Now I know the stop is supposed to have. There's some knives that do have this, and it does come in handy to keep your hands protected from going into the blade and cutting your hand, which is a no-no. But I kind of wish that this was just a little bit, perhaps a little bit more smoother, or I wish that they made the handle scales of this particular knife a little bit more fatter, at least on this side here and on this side here, so that way you still get a nice firm grip on the handle, but it's not going to sting your hand as much when batoning. Now, when it comes to slicing and feather sticking with this knife, no problem. I mean, you can slice and feather stick all you want. Sharpening this knife, it is still pretty sharp. I mean, it feels good when I feather stick on some wood to make a fire. Um, the edge, the spine of the knife, it is sharp, but it's not sharp enough to where it's decently sharp to the point to where I can still strike a ferro rod to make a fire. But this little notch right here, though, if I put the ferro rod into this little notch, I can go ahead and wait a minute, and strike a ferro rod that way if I use this notch. But it is possible to get a fire going with the spine of this knife. You just got to make sure that your tinder that you have is nice and dry, or you have some type of fire fire starter to help get your fire going. So not bad. It's still, in my opinion, it is still a good knife. It's not the best knife, but it is still a good knife. And I don't mean to harp on Buck whatsoever. I think Buck, in my opinion, makes phenomenal products. They make phenomenal camping gear, phenomenal knives, and they work. But sometimes when it comes to making a knife, and this is something I've learned from watching other knife videos on YouTube, and that is you got to make sure that you're satisfying every single aspect of your clientele. So you got to think outside where, okay, I have my knife, I'm going to use it for this task and this task, but what if I want to use it for these other tasks that may come along? Possibly. You got to think like that, like a worst case scenario. So would I recommend this knife despite some of the cons that I do have with this knife? Looking back on it, I would say, hmm, you know what? That's actually kind of a hard one. Hmm. Excuse me. One thing I don't remember is what type of steel this knife particularly uses. But would I recommend this knife? You know what? Honestly, yeah, I would. I don't think I would recommend. I would not recommend this knife as a your perfect survival knife. But in a pinch, this would work. Now, as far as like slicing up, like for fishing and stuff like that, I would take this knife. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and swap this out with the Buck Selkridge and put this knife in my fishing bag, in my primary, in my my camp out fishing backpack that I use. I have two different fishing kits. I have a camp out setup, a family camp out setup, and then I also have a travel backpack setup that I take with me when I go fishing. So I have those two setups. So I'm probably going to go ahead and take out the Buck Selkridge and switch it with this knife and use this one for fishing. So yeah, I mean it's good. Not the best, but it is good. All right, let's go and put the knife down for right now. Let's see. Um, I think that is pretty much all we're going to go ahead and talk about for today. I mean, it's very quiet tonight, and I don't want to take up anybody else's time. If other people were on here on this YouTube channel, or if other people were watching my channel and they want to ask me questions, you know what? You are more than welcome to come on anytime I come on live. And I think I'm going to go ahead and make this a once a month thing now. So let's see, what day is this? Okay, today's the 23rd of August. So I would say anytime between, let's see, what is the 23rd of next month? Let's look at that real quick. Okay, 23rd of next month is going to be a Thursday. Okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and do it this way. Now that I'm thinking about it. The last Monday of every month, there will be a live video where you guys can come on the channel. You can ask me questions. We can talk about gear, whatever you want to talk about. If I have any specific favorites when it comes to my fishing equipment or any of my bushcraft or camp out gear. So the last Monday of every month, I will be on here live to answer those type of questions anytime you want to talk. I'll be happy to help you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this live video. If you do, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to click on the bell icon ding dong to be notified of any new videos that to come up. And as always, guys, I appreciate all your views, your comments, and your support. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Now get outside and have an adventure. So long, my friends.